welcome. My name is Diana Loderhose, International Features Editor here at Deadline. We are back in our Red Sea studio, and I'm delighted to be welcomed today with the cast, or part of the cast, most of the cast of Erupcja. We've got Lena Góra here with me, and Will Madden. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Erupcja, she said it well.
Did I say it okay?
Yeah,
Thank you. Listen, first of all, we're here. We're here. You've had this journey with this film. You've been at festivals already with it, but here we are in Jeddah. Tell me a little bit about, have you been here before? Initial impressions of the festival, the city? I'd love to hear your first thoughts.
Yeah, I have never been to Jeddah or the Middle East at all. So I really came into it not knowing what to expect. And so far in the last 3 days, I've had a mishmash experience of doing this really beautiful, huge festival and really having like an amazing, exuberant sort of experience of this festival. And then also getting to go to a couple cafes late last night and hang out with young people who were like, this is what we do. We go to cafes at midnight and we start drinking coffee, and we do that till 6 a.m. That's like partying in Jeddah. So we've had a real experience of, a local young person's experience, and then also this festival and what that brings, and all these amazing people from the film industry. So it's been a real, juxtaposing but fun journey so far.
Amazing. Were you drinking coffee at midnight till 6 a.m.?
I had like my 10th cup of coffee of the day at 12:15.
Oh, wow.
a.m.
Did you sleep?
No.
What about you, Lena?
I'm just like a desert, the desert. I'm obsessed. I spent almost 5 months this year in Egypt shooting. So I feel the Middle East had been kindly inviting me to learn about it. And I think it's somewhat of a theme of our film as well, which is the culture clash of the West and the East, that I think maybe will save the world in a way. I love that we're here. I love that we come here. And I love that we're sharing stories,
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the film. You guys are screening here at the festival, of course. I'd love to know a bit of the journey and the kind of the beginnings of it. How did this project come to each of you, and initial impressions when you read the script?
Well, there was no script. is the first thing.
I didn't know that.
But
okay, that's
yeah,
amazing.
so this is my third film with the director Peter O's.
Mm-hmm.
Pete has made 5 movies in a format of coming up with about half of an outline for a story, and then gathers a group of actors, goes to a different city that he's usually never been to, or that's somewhere else in the world. And with the little troupe of actors, we all write the story together, day by day. We get up, we have breakfast, we write, and then we shoot a few scenes, and then we go to sleep, and then we do it again. We do it for about 10 or 12 days. Wow. And this is the third collaboration I've done with Pete. So this was just another example of Pete, who had been collaborating with Jeremy O'Harris. They did a film this way together. Jeremy's friends with Charlie. They all had this clandestine meeting at a bar at 3 a.m. where Pete pitched the way he makes movies to Charlie, and she goes, I want to do one. And he goes, what are you doing in August? And she goes, nothing, I'll be there. 2 months later, Brat came out, and and then the world changed. It seems like
pre-Brat.
This is pre-Brat.
Wow.
Yeah, this was the beginning of 2024. So she signed on, and then next thing you know, we're all Pete calls and says, hey, we're doing this movie. We want you to come play. All I can tell you is that you're a British guy and you're dating Charlie XCX and your characters are on a trip where you're going to propose. And that's really all I knew basically going into the shoot.
Wow.
And then next thing you know, we're in Warsaw, and then I meet Lena and Charlie and Jeremy, and we're all hanging out, and then we start, 48 hours before shooting, coming up with the story, basically.
It's incredible.
And then thus ensued 2 weeks of making a movie that way, and that's kind of Pete's ethos.
Yeah, the world is changing. Systems of anything are changing, and I think we're just trying to find new ways of filmmaking so we can just continue doing it and continue doing it in some way independently. I'm worried about that word because it sometimes can mean so much, but what we mean by independent is without having to pitch preach anything on the audience, without having anyone tell us what the story should be or what the end goal should be, which brings space for that moment in between where you can just leave audience questioning maybe, or just think more. I've worked on a few films this way. I met Pete in Warsaw, Poland, as we call it in the movie. I shot a film called Roving Woman in a very similar collaborative spirit. Wim Wenders produced it, and he was like a mentor to me in telling me, hey, and this is like 4 years ago when he said, I think it's time you start thinking of new ways and new solutions, because the world will be rapidly changing, and before that happens, maybe you can shoot some movies. And Pete saw Roving Woman, and he found me a like-minded filmmaker, and then he brought a big American gang to Poland, and we shot a first film of this kind, or really a first film about Warsaw that shows modern Warsaw. And it's really cool how modern Warsaw had grown and built back up, and we've been sort of heavy burdened with a lot of post-war guilt, and movies that were set in Warsaw had been mainly about that for a long time. And I just love that delicate spirit of sort of a mumblecore meets, what is this movie? It's just this own Pete O's mind, which is so different, and just it's been an honor to work this way.
It's such a unique way to approach filmmaking, isn't it? And I think I wonder for you as actors, the experience, is it, I mean, you've worked with him a few times, but is it quite a freeing experience, or because you're under his guidance and you trust his process, do you feel kind of safe within that? Or, but maybe what is the experience like for you in terms of kind of expression and feelings, like kind of guided on set? If at all, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I'm very close with Pete. We're friends first, and I know him very well, and he has 20 years of making films and editing films, and the privilege of being an actor and getting cast in something that's being directed, basically written, directed, produced, and edited by one person who you think is amazing at what they do. That's the freeing thing. It's like he could say, we're going to do whatever kind of structure of the movie we're going to make. We're going to write a 100-page script, or we're going to improvise the whole thing. And I feel like I'm going to be taken care of. I'll be able to risk and do all sorts of crazy stuff and find it with him, and trust that he's going to be, sort of the goalie at the end, editing the movie, putting it together, making sure it all works. So it's, in that sense, despite the structure of it, it's like when you have a filmmaker that you trust, it's like that is the freeing thing.
Yeah.
And I think also what often is missed maybe, or what matters to us a lot, is kindness, on and off screen, and mutual respect, and really listening to one another, and really taking account of everybody involved. And it really feels so collaborative in a way that, we all wrote this together, we all brought in something we wanted to bring to it, and I just love this about Pete so much, that he chooses his collaborators to be people that run with their heart. And I feel we've been doing this to people, to the four lead ensemble, but also to the rest of our crew and everybody else involved. We were just a good gang, a good group, which I think is something that I miss now. Sometimes, we come on these huge sets, and it's also transactional, and it's also fast, and it's also curated, and sometimes almost feels like AI written, like we're just replaying that same model over and over again. And here we just came together, and we were like, hi, people, how are you doing? What do you want to say? It's nice to do.
Charlie XCX, you mentioned, of course, collaborates with you on this. Tell us a little bit about, she seems to be, her star is completely risen, right? And she's very much in demand in the film space now, and is exploring those avenues. And you guys worked with her, it sounds like, pretty early on. Tell us a little bit about what it's like working with her, and the experience of being on set with her, and kind of what she kind of offers to the project.
She's just really professional, and I just respect that and love that so much. And I think that's why she's so good at anything she does, is because she comes in like a trooper. She's not afraid of getting her arms and legs dirty. She was also such a humble player. You know, before we started, she told me, she was like, I'll be learning from you, or can you tell me about this, or can you tell me about that? And she was like, I'm honored to work with you, you know. And that's just brings such a space of mutual respect and like place to fail. Like, what is this? We're not racing a marathon, we're just playing, you know. And it was a very focused professional set, you know. I wish upon myself, and probably yourself, more collaborators like that who are just really focused and professional. I was a little bit worried at the beginning. I was like, oof, big pop star, you know, she can come with a lot of ego, and she didn't. Quite the opposite.
Wow.
It was really just a testament to her artistic like mind and ambitions to like to explore different things. And you know, she was at the height of musical stardom and success, and she's like, I'm actually gonna explore this area of filmmaking and acting that I'm not super experienced in.
Yeah.
Because she had acted a bit in like theater in high school or something, and she was like, I kind of want to keep exploring, so I'm going to produce like 10 movies and act in all these movies and like go full force into this really what would be scary, you know, career change in a way, or addition to her career. So it was, you know, it was really just her spirit of like, she brought that same energy to the set. Like, I'm here to learn and I'm here to create with you guys. I'm not taking time out of my, you know, preparation for her Brat tour to like do some money grab or some job that I think is going to do X, Y, and Z. No, I'm here to sort of learn. And by the third day, she was like, this is the longest I've ever been on a set. 3 days as a lead actor in every scene. And so it was really an amazing thing to work with an artist who's so experienced and wise beyond her years, to also come to the table being not a full cup, being like, I know what to do, but being ready to just receive. And
I also didn't know of her music before. This was right before Rat Summer. I was wondering like if my algorithm is just going green because I work with her, but turns out like the whole world was experiencing this too, for real. And I made a conscious choice of not playing any of her music before we started. So I had no clue of who Charlie XCX is, and thank God, you know, because when we came on set, I mean, she was just, we were the same. We were just a bunch of people making a movie, and she's that gal.
We've talked a little bit about the craft here and Pete's kind of approach to making this and independent filmmaking. This is a very kind of I don't want to say experimental, but it's a different way of approaching.
Experimental is great. Let's just experiment.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Yeah.
And I'm curious for you, you know, and I've asked this to a few people that have come in the studio today, given the kind of big news that happened in Hollywood yesterday with sort of Netflix buying Warner Brothers, there's a lot of consolidation happening on the big end studio end of things in Hollywood. However, on the indie side, I feel like there are these glimmers of hope, and we had Sean Baker, who's heading the jury. He came in first day, you know, and he's someone who won 4 Oscars this year for a very independent, you know, film that he made, that he wrote, edited, directed, and he has his own way of approaching movies, of course. But there are these, I guess my question to you is, what is your, working in the space you work in right now, are you hopeful that there's opportunity in this space? What are your thoughts about the independent or the movie making business going forward, given everything that's happening on the studio side of things?
I think that this period could very well be like a 1920s Paris or 19th century Vienna of like, I think this is like a necessity breeding invention of like independent film. You know, I've had the luxury of working on many first-time filmmakers movies from budgets of like $12,000 to $2 million, all small films. But like, there's just with the technology now and the opportunity to express and make things, it really is like, oh wow, we really have to take things kind of into our own hands and to tell what we want to tell, and we're going to stop waiting for the cavalry, as they say, and really go after it. And I've seen on the ground floor and attending many wonderful film festivals of independent filmmakers who are doing fucking amazing things of like, wow. And, you know, who knows how the industry will reciprocate as far as platforming those and getting them to wider audiences. But as far as the art form itself, I feel incredibly positive, even under the dark cloud of like AI and movies are going to disappear and there'll never be actors, whatever. It's like, who knows what the industry will be in the future. But as far as like the craft and the art form developing and evolving, I think is very hopeful, positive.
I also feel right at home. I come from very revolutionary parents. My mom was a punk singer fighting in the late 80s, dropping communism and getting into, was born in 1990. I write as communism fell. My dad is a painter and artist. We, you know, grew up in this bohemian wine drinking, conversation, debating, not being afraid of saying the wrong thing way, which then when I left Poland and moved to the States, it was something I did not get to do, and it was almost prohibited to do, to debate or ask too many questions or say the bad thing. Then we touched on cancel culture. That was really difficult then. Obviously at the beginning it had a really positive impact, and then obviously it got into that second end of the stick, which was like, let's just not say anything to be safe, which is when I felt really worried. And I feel we're finally past that. It's gone so bad that I feel it's breaking, it's boiling. You know, aliens are coming, obviously we know that. They're coming to help. I think I have positive beliefs that together it's time for a revolution, and we're sitting here with you, you know, Sean Baker's running the jury. We get to make movies in a bohemian, collective, you know, my dinner at Andre's, you know, communication, conversation way. We're back to talking, and that hopefully will save us, or it's the end, which is also fine. That happened. Like,
let's go with the
Atlantis.
Let's go with the
right.
Let's go with the positive ending on that. And
aliens will save us.
Yeah, well, but we might need that. But let's be hopeful that we can save ourselves. Thank you both for being here. Congratulations on the film. It's a pleasure meeting you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.